to make sure we have strong communities. One of the ways to have those communities be stronger is economic development and making sure that people have access to good jobs, making sure they have access to good health care, making sure they have access to good education, all those things that make a sound community. And I know all the people here that are with me today are headed in that direction too. It's really, really important. We need to have strong communities, and that's doing all the things I've mentioned and more. So with that, I guess we'll let somebody else have any introductory comments. We'll be glad to answer questions.
Governor, what did you learn along the way? I know you talked to a number of different people
Yeah.
along the way. Are there things you learned, experiences you had there that you can take back to the Capitol and help change things?
Yeah, well, one of the basic ones we just heard from an icon in the community was all people have value. All people have values. All people have that inside of them a heart that cares about their neighbors. You know, maybe they might be in trouble right now, but at the end of the day, and I see that when I do pardons also, frankly, the people make a wrong choice. That doesn't mean that redemption isn't a good thing. And so she reinforced that to me, and I heard, you know, a lot of people here are working hard to make this neighborhood really a special place again. And I just want to be the state of Wisconsin needs to be a partner in that.
You're not shying away from the pardon issue that's been in the news lately?
No, hell no, no. Second chance, third chance, people deserve that. If they can prove that they've turned their life around and are going to be are good members of the community, second chances, redemption are important. That's part of our heritage as a nation. Think about how this nation was founded by a bunch of ne'er-do-wells that wanted to get out of Europe and came here. We need that same feeling for people now.
Governor, the cost of living for a lot of people has gone up. Is there any plans on how the state plans to respond to this?
Well, we're working on several issues right now. I'm not able to be specific, but at the end of the day, the state's role in taking care of inflation is minor. We need help from the federal government. I know I worked with several governors across the state, across the country, encouraging them to take a holiday around gas tax. But it is much more complex than that. We're looking see what we can do as a state. Actually, I was with somebody yesterday that said, "I understand you have a significant balance in your budget," and we do. He said, "Hang on to it because it's going to get worse." Now, I don't believe that we need to hang on to it, but I think we can find ways to use it in a more efficient way.
Mayor Johnson, you're constantly saying that we need to build a partnership with the state. How did today make a difference in that, and what do you hope Governor Evers takes back to the Capitol?
I am constantly saying that, and I fully believe that we do need to have better relationships with the state. Governor Evers has been there from the beginning, and I want to thank the governor for being here today on the ground. And one of the challenged neighborhoods that we have in Milwaukee, a neighborhood that has a lot of potential, has a lot of hope, has a lot of promise, and the people here have that too. And the governor's been able to see that. With the powers that he has, he's been making the investments in Milwaukee that we need to move neighborhoods like this forward. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to continue that sort of partnership and via your telecasts, work to make sure that this message about neighborhoods like this, that again are home to so much hope and so much promise and so much potential but just need investment, also gets across the aisle as well.
For Governor Evers and Mayor Johnson, this is a question for you both. What can faith leaders and faith organizations do? What role can they play to reduce gun violence in Milwaukee?
Well, I think the faith-based leaders in the city are extraordinary already. I've met so many of them, and they do so much good work. And I'll just go back to the whole reentry issue with people leaving correctional institutions, moving into life again in Milwaukee, working with jobs, working with housing. They are already doing a great job. I know they can do more, and they will continue to do that. But they're one of the pillars that we need to rely on.
Yeah.
Good, last question. here. Oh, sorry.
A pillar, a stabilizing force in neighborhoods like this. And look, I know that both Representative David Bowen as well as Alderman Ashanti Hamilton know this very well, because when we started off the governor's walk through this neighborhood, we started off at a church with Pastor Archie Ivy. And Pastor Ivy joined us on the beginning part of the walk. And we went and we engaged with some folks in the neighborhood right across the street from the park. And when we engaged with them, some kids came out and he said, "Hey, don't I recognize you? Don't you and your brother, don't you guys ride your bikes over to my church?" And the mom was like, "Yeah, they do ride their bike over by a church." So it's creating those connections in the neighborhoods. It's working to be those stabilizing pillars, those stabilizing forces, and bringing people together. That's what the faith community in Milwaukee is capable of doing. And look, I have asked consistently for everybody in this community to step up. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a mentor, a friend, a pastor, whether you're a parent, police and violence prevention, everybody to step up. And our faith community, I think, is looking to answer that call as well.
Last question, here, guys.
We just had Milwaukee County just logged its 100th homicide. I believe there was another homicide in Milwaukee overnight from the mayor. What is your response to that? The last homicide was a 14-year-old girl. Now I believe it's a 28-year-old male. And this is a number that is predicted to continue to increase. What's your response to that?
My response is that it's tragic. And, many times when we see gun violence happen in Milwaukee, look, folks know each other, but they have too easy access to guns, right? That's a message that I really want to get across to some of our Republican partners in the legislature as well. And I'll use a personal example here, because it's been in the news and I've been asked about it, time and again, about my own brother, who has been in trouble and is in prison right now, right? So I have this power that I don't want to have. And the power that I have is that as a law-abiding citizen, nobody with a criminal or a person who doesn't have a criminal background, I can legally go and purchase a gun, and presumably a lot of ammunition as well. And I can take that gun and without any background check, I can give it to my brother, were he not in prison, who just shot somebody 6 times. That's a power that I have. And so many other people across the state have that same power. I don't want that power. And I don't think that anybody should have that power. I think it's common sense, and it's not a partisan issue. It's about lives. It's about protecting people who are not just Milwaukeeans, but also Wisconsinites, and making sure that those folks in this community and across our state, that their lives are preserved and they don't end because somebody has too easy access to guns. It doesn't matter if you live in a dense urban area or if you live in a rural area across our state. Everybody should feel safe, and nobody should be in a position where they could simply go and purchase a gun and legally give it to somebody who would commit violent acts on the streets of Milwaukee or elsewhere in our state.
Yeah. And we'll continue, hopefully something will happen in Washington, D.C. in the near future. There seems to be some, will change our lives, no, but I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of there. I know they're going to have some incentives around red flag laws. I don't know what that incentive is yet. But we need, from my vantage point, we've tried this several times with Republican legislature. This may be something different, especially if there's an incentive, but really common sense gun safety issues such as red flag laws and universal background checks is something we should be able to do here in the state of Wisconsin. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much, everybody.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you all for being in. Appreciate it. Sorry, it was a little more.
6 months in.